Time now for Coming In Hot with Brent Wallace, former Ottawa Senator Jason York, and Graham Nichols.
Good morning, everybody. Brent Wallace alongside Graham Nichols. Nice to see you this morning. Graham, Yorkie has the day off because, well, he can't work more than 3 days a week. This show is always brought to you by Bet365. Hey, but it's a good day today. The Sens pull out that victory. Now, here's my first question to you, Graham.
Shoot.
Were you at all concerned that they may not get the 2 points?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're always concerned. You never know how these games are going to go all the time.
But I mean, it.
But yeah, like just not again, like another unbelievable defensive effort. And then again, like my new favorite thing to do is to go look at the opposing media's comments after every game. Are like, oh, Philadelphia, they had a chance to win. Ottawa didn't look great, and they just a bad game. They could have been better. They could have been way better. It's like, it's Ottawa, man. It's Ottawa.
You had 2 shots in the first period. And I do appreciate Frankie Corrado mentioning, like, it looks like guys have jets on the tarmac waiting to take off, because it was one of those games where you're just trying to play. It's almost like the end of the preseason. You're just trying to get through it.
For sure. But I will say in overtime, though, like the back checking and work by like Sandy and Timmy to set up the overtime winner. Like I thought he was gassed. Like when that puck got turned over, connecting, he misses a shot. Timmy's in the corner coming back the other way, retrieving him. Like he's got nothing left in the tank. His shift was only like 47 seconds, but like I thought he was like running on E at that point. And then Brady touches it, gets a second wind, dances around Sanheim, bang, in the net. It was awesome. It was such a huge moment when they needed the most. And that's Timmy's season. He's been incredible. I think he's been their MVP this year.
Yeah. Like, up until this point, or I shouldn't say this point, I'll say since mid-December, you'd probably say it's Jake Sanderson. He was great, plays the game, the position he plays, but I can't argue with Tim Stutzle being the team MVP at this point. In the last, he's on a 7-game point streak. In the last 29 games, he's got 35 points, I think it is. He's got 5 game winners on the season. He's now second all-time in franchise history in overtime winners or overtime goals, because they're all winners. He's anyway, I keep saying it, but I'll repeat myself again. I would pay to watch him play any game.
Oh, for sure.
And the funny part, though, Graham, is he says our line was terrible last night. He goes, if it wasn't for the overtime. Yeah, that was made me laugh. He goes, we were terrible.
But like Drake's had a quiet January too, right? Like that. I think that's the important thing to recognize too. It's like Timmy's doing his thing, but like he's not getting a ton of support necessarily from his line mates. Although Chloe's been fine. But I'm waiting for Drake to find that level that he exhibited in December, and if you can get back to that, like that could be an interesting connection when the team returns at the end of February.
100%. Back to your shots on goal thing. That's the 3rd straight game under 20 shots on goal for an opponent, and 6 of the last 7 times they have held an opponent to 20 shots or less in a game. They just don't give you anything.
No, and it takes a lot of pressure off the goalie. And I thought like James Reimer only faced 16 shots last night, but like he did what he had to do. Like tough defensive breakdown to lead to the game-tying goal by Drysdale. But I thought he looked fine. Like he looked, considering the circumstances coming in when you have no idea that you're going to play. I thought he handles himself quite well, and it's a nice bounce back game for him after the game in Carolina. Like the game against Carolina, I didn't really like his performance. Didn't like the first goal, little soft rebound that allowed Aho to get a rebound there in front. But and the glove shot by Stahl, like you need to key save it key times. But like
fair, but that's a horrendous play. Like that's
it is
all
for
goal,
sure.
and
like,
he placed that shot perfectly.
Yep. Tip your hat, but I mean, you also need key saves at key times, and then like it's a breakaway, right? So it's hard to begrudge him. But when a guy lets a wrister go from that distance, you hope to get a piece of it. But
you know what? I want to put you in goal, and I want to have like Tim Stutzle come down the wing and rip that over your shoulder, and just to see how hard that is. And I understand.
I would like to try it though. I would like to try it because I play baseball, so I'd love to try it. So I don't know if we could ever set that up, but I'd like to see it.
Okay, because like that's a hell of a shot. And if in all things being equal, if it's a tie or they were up a goal at that point, right? That ended up being the tying goal, I think. I can't remember. I understand your point about needing a timely save.
But again, like that's the theme of the season, right? Like bad defensive breakdowns, poor decisions, and it just always seems to find a way in the back of Ottawa's net. It's the recurring theme for the season, and it's frustrating. This team's been victimized and plagued by bad line changes now for like the better part of the last 2 years. And I don't know, like Yorkie's talked about it as well, right? It's like skate hard back to the bench, get guys on. But I mean, like in that instance, Jordan Spence can't go at that. Like if a puck doesn't get in deep, and it's still at like the opposing blue line, it's coming back quick the other way. Like it's inexcusable, and they all changed at the same time, and it's just it can't happen.
I 100% agree. I don't know if it's. I mean, I don't know. Like obviously, we haven't been in that pressure situation. Is it panic? Is it whatever? Like you think everything is going well? Like you're not, or you just didn't notice where the puck was.
I think it's honestly you take for granted the fact that you're an NHL player and these guys aren't accustomed to seeing guys make a ton of mistakes, right? Like you're so comfortable saying, "Oh, Cousins got he's in the neutral zone. He's going to flip it in, and we'll go for a change." Like you just assume he's going to make the play because he's a high level NHL player. Right. I think like you take for granted the fact that these guys can make mistakes, and I think it's just in that instant they assumed it was going to go deep, and it obviously didn't, and it wound up in the back of the net. But I thought James Reimer, like strong bounce back game. The team played unbelievably well in front of them. They limited Philadelphia in terms of the quality that they gave up. High danger chances were like heavily tilted in favor of the Senators, and that game obviously would have been nicer if they finished in regulation, a little bit of breathing room, take a little stress off the fans. But to see them respond in overtime the way they did was great.
By the way, it's the Tim Stutzle's second straight overtime winner, both against, I should say second straight overtime winner against Philadelphia. Both the last two have come against the Philadelphia Flyers. Before we move back on to the Sens, did you see Dan? What was up with Dan Vladar last night? Did you see him like looking at his teammates at one during the first period? Commercial timeout. He's staring down somebody, and then at the end of the game, he was all hot and bothered.
Really? No, I missed that. I didn't see that.
He was cranky last night, but I can appreciate it. He was getting no help. It seemed like Philadelphia didn't seem to be wanting to be part of that game whatsoever.
No, they were punching their ticket for the Olympic break for sure. The buses were ready to go, but
they only got 2 guys out. Oh, you know what? That's the problem. Everybody's got a beach trip planned, not the Olympic break planned, right? Like they're all like, I got to get to Disney World where maybe it's Ottawa.
But their season's been swirling for a while, right? And then they get the distractions with Michkov and everything else that's going on. And it's just, it seems like it's like a tumultuous situation. So like, I don't necessarily blame them. Like we've seen those seasons here in Ottawa in the past 8 years. And it's just like, you don't blame guys for wanting to get out and get a refresh and just get away from the negativity at the rink. So
now the Olympic break Winter Games break begins. I don't think we're technically allowed to say the Olympics. I think it's a no-no. Anyway.
It's a no-no? Why?
Yeah, because you're not a rights holder.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So there is, what is it? Like 11 days before the team gets back on the ice, I think it is. They will get on the ice on the 17th is the first day they can skate. So we'll see if that becomes a practice or if it's the next day or whatever. But that's the first time back on the ice. So not a full 2 weeks. Then the Olympic, the Winter Games gold medal game is on the 17th, and then everybody will get home and then they'll start to play again.
Right on. It's not that's very condensed, super condensed, but I'm excited to watch like Brady and Jake and Timmy, actually, like those three. Really excited to watch Timmy more so because he's on a weaker opponent, but he's playing such good hockey right now. I can't wait to see him elevate his game and have a chance to play with a guy like Draisaitl. That's going to be compelling television. I think Jake Sanderson, watching him go up against McKinnon the other day, and Crosby as well in the past week, it's like him elevating his game against the best is super, super encouraging, and it's just fun to watch. And that Canada-US matchup, whenever it happens, it's going to be insane. It's going to be so much fun.
So speaking of Leon Draisaitl, I know we're a little off topic, is I I forgot to check the standings, and I was like, I thought Edmonton was doing fine, and then I hear Leon Draisaitl, and I thought they were like out of the playoffs, and they're still sitting second in their division. He was not happy, but right, like I was like, man, you guys are. But he's there. I'm curious of how that team plays out because there seems to be a lot of unhappiness right now with the Edmonton Oilers.
He's always kind of testy though, right? Like he's always he's very blunt, direct, like typical German, I guess you could say. And he's not afraid to. He's not afraid to speak up and speak his mind. I think that's just leadership, right? Like that team's been through it so often, so many ups and downs. But
anyway,
did you want to pivot back to Linus Ullmark?
Yeah, I'm coming. Okay. I just got sidetracked. I didn't sleep a lot. I was so excited with the win. So yeah, you brought up James Reimer got the win last night because it was expected that Linus Ullmark was going to be in goal, and then suddenly he's out with flu-like symptoms. I'll let you start. What's your opinion of what's transpiring?
I think it's. I can understand cynicism, right? I think like this whole situation invites cynicism. Unfortunately, I think like you're dealing with a player who just returned from a leave of absence for mental health. And now you're talking about arguably the biggest game of the season where if the Senators drop this game, it's going to make it incredibly difficult. You're 8 points back heading into the Olympic break. It's going to be an uphill climb. And I think you want your number one goaltender to play in these big moment games to get up for it. He's announced as a starter after the morning skate by Travis Green. You don't know what happened in the afternoon. Like I've had shifts at work, Wally, where it's like, I don't feel great by 4 o'clock, but I felt great earlier in the morning. And then, I come down with the flu and the next thing you know, I'm on my ass in bed by like 7 o'clock at night. Like there are situations where it happens, but I think it's like he was at practice, endured a full practice, obviously felt good enough to go at the time. So that invites cynicism where it's like, if you can't rely on this guy to play in this moment for a pivotal game when the team needs you the most, can you rely on this guy? And I think like this goes back to our conversation yesterday where it's like, if you're Steve Staios, I think the uncomfortable conversation that you have to have with your staff at the end of this season is, how can you rely on Linus Ullmark? Even when he was healthy, he hadn't played in 50 regular season games in a season ever. And now you have some other things that he's dealing with, unfortunately. And it's an uncomfortable and awkward conversation to have, because if you can't trust him, you have to figure out a way to resolve your goaltending situation moving forward. And I don't know how they do that. I don't know how they do that with him potentially. Like
they need him on the ice.
Yeah, you either need him on the ice or you need to insulate him with a very good player. And I don't know if that's going to happen. It's super difficult. Like, are you going to invest $12 million in your goaltending position because you can't trust Linus Ullmark? It's tough. It's super tough. It's an uncomfortable conversation to have. But I think maybe it invites a conversation for a buyout this offseason. Like
I think this is nuts.
I don't know what you do. I have no idea what you do. I think you're going to exhaust every avenue though before you go down that route. But it's not a conversation that's going to be fun to have.
And I see people in the chat. Maybe he was sick. 100%. He may be. But the problem is you don't know from game to game if he is going to be there. That's the problem. Mm-hmm. And as uncomfortable as it is, you in the NHL want your best players on the ice, and you want to be able to count on them. And like, for sure, Josh Norris was traded out of Ottawa because you didn't know if he was going to be healthy or not. Mm-hmm. Same thing. That's
a good point. And I think it is important. I think the chat's right. Like, it is important to give him the benefit of the doubt. Like, if you're not capable of playing and you decide to pull the chute, then you hope that it's real, right? You hope that he is sick. But at the same time, if he
call it a flu, Graham.
Flu-like symptoms, same thing.
So no, it's not the same thing.
Well, it's pretty much the same thing.
I think I'm coming down with something as opposed to I need to be in bed because I don't feel good and I can't move.
And that's fair. I guess the optimistic take is at least it's the Olympic break, because if he participated in practice was around all these guys, giving them a couple weeks off might not be the worst thing in the world.
He was already around them.
I know. I'm just saying, if he infected the rest of the room with whatever he's dealing with, that'd be terrible.
Stop.
Maybe it was food poisoning. You have no idea. You have no idea.
I don't. But the problem is you're running out of time and excuses. You need your number one goalie on the ice to play because your season hangs in the balance. Travis Green's career possibly hangs with Linus Ullmark winning and losing games because that's how you coach, you are assessed.
Yeah. And you like off air, we talked about Brady Tkachuk's comments after the game, right? Where he was asked by a Philadelphia reporter what he thought about when he heard about the goaltending news, about the switch and everything else. He's like, I didn't know anything until we got to the rink, and then we found out Reimer's playing, and that's it.
It was very. And then here comes, you start reading into it, right? More than maybe you should because of all the stuff that surrounds it, but still not quite sure what happened. But yeah. It's just weird.
Next man up, right? That's what they've been saying all season. Next man up, let Reimer play. And they stepped up. They played incredibly well defensively in front of him. And that's all you can do. That's all you can do in those situations. Just do the best you can for the guy who's carrying the burden of that. It's tough. It's really, really tough.
Let's see what happens after the break. Speaking of which, though, here's your goaltending save percentage. We always like to look at save percentages. Here they are between James Reimer and Linus Ullmark. As we see, it's better. They're getting there, right?
It's trending up, yeah.
So high danger. Reimer's been very, very good at 814, which is above the league average. It's shocking to me his mid-range is as off as it is, but
that's like the Jordan Stahl shot, though.
Correct. Or it's like Drysdale. Was Drysdale that far out? I'm trying to think of Drysdale.
Yeah, it was like top. It was like top of circles.
So
top of circles.
Anyway, so that's where we're at.
And I think that like the encouraging part about Ullmark is his game looked pretty sharp last appearance that he had, and if he can carry that momentum into the final 25 games, they're going to be in a good spot. They should be in a good spot. He just needs to get on the ice and play as often and as well as he can. That's the biggest deal, because I think like the gap between Reimer and Ullmark is pretty sizable at this point. The gap between Ullmark and anybody at this point is pretty sizable if you can play like he did in his last appearance. So that's the important part. Just get him on the ice and let him play.
All right, let's take care of some business as we get through this Friday special, as we like to call it.
Friday special. Shoeless Joe's, daily deals you do not want to miss. Burgers, wings, cold beer, great prices. No fluff, just big flavor, 5 nights a week. This week at Shoeless Fridays. We got no deal on Fridays, it looks like. But Caesar Sundays, shake up your Sunday with a $6 Caesar for the Super Bowl. Game day bud deal. If a Canadian team's on the screen, $9 buds all game long. Mondays, you have fish and chips. You have wings Tuesday. Big Burger Energy Wednesdays. Thursday night, you get half-price wine, $10 flatbreads. Perfect for date night or for catching up. Shoeless Joe's, where daily deals meet big flavor and good times on repeat in Canville and Orleans.
And of course, by BEI, Bonisher Excavating Inc., our day one sponsor. If you're a homeowner thinking about a new driveway, fresh gravel, or getting your property ready for the spring project, BEI can help. They supply quality aggregate and landscape materials at competitive prices. They've got the equipment and the experience to handle everything from small residential jobs to full driveway work. To get a quote or learn more, go to bonisherexcavating.com or 613-432-1120. BEI, helping to shape the Ottawa Valley. And for all of you hockey fanatics who are looking at the Milan games, our sister network, Daily Faceoff, at their YouTube page. You can see them. They have all the highlights, info, interviews. They've got the games covered. So if you want to see all the games being covered, go to the Nation Network. dailyfaceoff.com, and it'll have all it for you.
Right on.
All right. Tim Stutzle, I want to get back to Timmy Stutzle for a second.
Yes,
he
sir.
is on pace, once again, 90 points. Do you think he gets there?
I could totally see it. It depends. If the team plays well enough, like they have been, I think there's always a chance. But I think like he needs Drake to get hot. Like I think that's the key. Like Timmy's he's filling the net right now. He's scoring a ton of goals. What's he got? Like 4 games in a row?
Points or
no
goals? He's got goals in 5 straight. First time
5 straight. Like he's filling the net, but his playmaking is next level. And I think if Drake can get hot and start bearing some of the chances that he gets, there's a chance he could get there. And I feel like Timmy's got a 100-point capability inside him. Like I think he's that talented. He can do it. but it's going to be one of those seasons where it's like he needs a lot of help from his line mates to get there.
Trivia question: how many players in Ottawa Senators history have two 90-point seasons? 90-plus point seasons. And by the way, Tim has one, so he will tie.
I think Spets has got to be there, right?
Okay, that's one.
I know like Alfie and Healy got it. Yashin got it once, maybe twice. Yeah, good question. Good question. I'll say Spets and Alfie.
Oh, you started to say Danny Heatley, and that would have been correct.
Was close.
Heatley.
Who was the other one though? Spezza? Yeah, Healy and Spezza.
Alfie, Yash. The only 5 players that have a 90-point season: Heatley, Spezza, Stutzle, Alfie, and Yashin.
Not bad company. Not bad company.
No, I think he gets there. I think he's so good right now. He gets there if they can get that power play figured out.
Well, that's the other half of the battle too, right? They were 0 for 1 last night. It seems like they're not getting a ton of power play opportunities though lately.
No,
I don't know if it's the refereeing or what's going on, but they're just not drawing a ton of calls right now.
Well, they did have 5 3 games ago against Pittsburgh, so they're 2 for their last 8, 4 for the last 11, and then they had that drought of like 12 or 11. So it's not ideal.
Let Mike Yeo operate the power play.
Just give him everything.
Yeah, just give him everything. Give him all the responsibilities.
He's been very. Yeah. I mean, it's tough to argue. Everything seems to be working at the moment on the penalty kill.
It is kind of crazy
though. 6 games, yeah.
Yeah, it is kind of crazy though. It's just you change the voice. They're not changing the responsibilities. Like Nolan Baumgartner's still helping out. He's just not the guy leading it. And it's weird. It's weird. It's super weird.
It's different. It's different. Like I'll say in Toronto and in Montreal when they fired the goalie coach, Toronto, they fired Marc Savard. They were gone. They just didn't move and shuffle around. So it's interesting. Mm-hmm. But I know that Travis is very loyal to his staff and they quite like each other. And so
yeah. And it does take a lot of heat off them, right? Like because people were talking about it because it's struggling all year. It's like, well, you need to facilitate change, and that's the easiest way to go about it with actually letting someone go.
100%. So let's get to the schedule quickly.
Yep.
There's 25 games left in the season. Are we gonna say 97 points ish?
97 points. Yeah. Yeah. You can make it work.
All right. So 13, 4, and 8, 14, 5, and 6 ish, somewhere in there. 15, 6, and 4. That's a lot of wins they've got to try and put together. And by the way, they got 13 of those 25 at home.
Yep.
4 of them of the 13 are against teams out of a playoff spot: Florida, Toronto, and San Jose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the biggest challenge is obviously you got like teams are around the mix. Like Columbus is playing very well right now. Like we talked about that yesterday with Rick Bowness coming into the fold. Washington's picked up a couple wins of late. They're in the mix as well, but Ottawa's got a couple games on Washington. But Boston, so the interesting thing is I think like hoping for the wild card 1 is probably out of reach. Like that's Buffalo. They're playing great hockey right now. They're not dropping a ton of games. It's like essentially Ottawa's playing for wild card 2 at this point, and that's currently owned by the Boston Bruins. And I know like we've talked about the strength of schedule for Ottawa. It's an incredibly difficult schedule down the stretch. You were talking about that homestand, like the quality of opponents coming in on that homestand, that extended homestand down the stretch.
Yeah.
But like what's the winning percentage of those teams?
I don't know the winning percent. I just know they're all sitting in a playoff spot, and I think only Anaheim at the moment is in a wild card spot of the teams they face. Like they have a grind coming up of teams they're facing.
So before the show, I looked at Money Puck, or sorry, it was Tankathon actually. It was Tankathon that had the strength of schedule up, and you hear that Ottawa's got one of the tougher schedules down the stretch. Yeah. And according to their schedule, they're 9th. They have the 9th most difficult schedule. The points percentage of the opponents that Ottawa has to face down the stretch is .573, very high. But you want your glass half full. The Boston Bruins have the second most difficult schedule of the remaining games, and their opponents have a points percentage of .586. So it's a little bit more difficult than the Senators. So if you're looking for a silver lining, and you're the team that you're chasing, they've got a tough slog of games ahead of them as well. So it's something. It's something. And then you look at Charlie McAvoy just got hurt.
Yeah.
Does
Ottawa face Tampa again, Jake? I don't know in March. They've lost now Braden Point and Anthony Cirelli. Yeah, they do face them on the 28th. There are some obviously players banged up,
and Elliot Friedman's talking about guys getting shut down after the Olympic break. I don't know if you saw his 32 Thoughts column this week, but he's talking about, he's hearing rumblings that there's guys going to the Olympics on teams that are out of the postseason who will probably shut it down, get corrective surgery after the Olympics games end. So that's going to be something to watch too. Yeah. And then there's 2 games against Florida right there, and then Tampa.
But if you just for example, I know if you go back to March, they go out west and they play 5 games on that West Coast trip, which includes the trade deadline. They fly home on the 10th, and then they're facing Montreal, who's just been outstanding all year. That feels like it's an automatic loss to me, right?
Against Montreal, but Ottawa's played Montreal really well of late, though, right?
But that's a grind of a trip because it starts in Toronto, Edmonton, that game back out the trip is tough.
Yeah, but that's the second time this season that they've gone back to Montreal, right? After a long Western trip. And that game in Montreal, they actually played really well. So
it's not an easy schedule. That's all.
No. But even the games against Anaheim and San Jose, those teams are playing really well right now too. So it's not going to be easy, obviously. You got to win the games. You have to win the games is what it comes down to. Irrespective of who the opponent is, you have to win the games. And there's just so much parity in the league these days. Nothing's easy. Nothing's easy. So all it comes down to is win the game. But they're playing such a structurally sound defensive game. They're not giving the opponents much. Even the good ones, they're not giving the good opponents much.
It is we'll look back at this season after in the summer or whatever and discuss how good defensively this team has been, because it just doesn't get enough credit because of everything else that's gone on around it. Mm-hmm. But it may be one of the best defensive performances in Senators history. And I know it may sound ridiculous, but they have one of the lowest shot totals, I think, scoring chances, all
best
that
in the league in terms of expected goals, scoring chances, shots allowed, shots on goal allowed. They're top 3. They're first to top 3 in every category. It's insane. And if they do not make the postseason, you're going to be cursing yourself. And I'm sure the coaching staff is pulling their hair out at this point. Just
and maybe they waited too late on the PK.
Maybe. But that's a conversation. I think if that happens at the end of the year, Steve Staios ultimately has to be the one to speak to that, right? It's on him. It's on him and his staff to put the best players in place to help move this along. And if
the argument is patience, right? If you have a knee-jerk reaction right away, and sometimes it becomes you do the wrong thing, and sometimes you become too patient. It's where you find the right time. I don't know if 50 games in was the right time to make the switch on the penalty kill, but if you
exactly,
but hindsight's an easy thing to assess
for sure. And I think as a Senators fan or someone who's covered the team for a while, I think everybody who's watched this team for years now recognizes the impulsiveness that previous management had, where they would chase players, go for short-term solutions at times where it wasn't necessarily needed. They've seen that kind of reaction before. And it's with Steve Staios, it was more of a measured, diligent approach, but it's bordering on, did he have too much confidence in the players that he had, whether it's Linus Ullmark or Levi Merilainen. Obviously you want to afford
Nick Jensen.
Obviously, Nick Jensen. You can go down the list of when you look at those easily identifiable weaknesses, especially it is a little bit revisionist, right? I think if Nick Jensen comes out, when Nick Jensen arrives in camp and he's skating and he's playing, you're like, oh wow, if he's ahead of the curve, man, if Nick Jensen can be healthy. And I think the conversation at that time was if Nick Jensen can be healthy and get back to the level he was pre-December last season, the Senators are in great shape. And I think that was probably really, really naive on our part, right? Looking back at that, and it's just I think now I have an appreciation for the surgery what hip surgery can do to you. And I think with Nick Jensen, it's unfortunate. Great story, great person. Super inspiring what he tried to do, what he has done, and his last 2 games have actually been pretty good.
He's been
can't
okay.
Complain
yeah.
about his last, yeah, he can't complain about his last 2 games, but like he's had a really, really difficult season, and I think like him playing top 4 minutes at where he's at right now might have been a little bit too naive. And I think like they didn't address that. They had internal options, right? They brought in Spence. They thought Matt Palo was a quality depth defender, and Spence has had a decent season. Matt Palo, I think, has taken a little bit of a small step back, but they didn't address these pressing needs. Goaltending potentially. Like if Ullmark doesn't play 50 games and Levy falls off a cliff, which is ultimately what happened, this is where they're at.
Right.
That was the risk. That was the risk. That was an identifiable risk. And I mean, if Levy Maryline plays really well, we're not even having this conversation. But those risks were very real at the time. They chose to go the route that they did, and I think like that's where you can call them out on it for.
I will give them the small benefit of how are you going to make a mid-season trade to pick up a right shot D that are at a premium on a top 4 spot with the prospects and picks you have to deal with.
Oh, for sure. And that's the other half of it too. And it's really easy to sit here, armchair quarterback, and say, hey, we need a goalie. Yes. Hey, we need a right shot defenseman who can play. And it's like, well, what's the market right now? How many teams are out of the postseason? How many of those teams have a quality right shot guy that you can add who will make this significantly better? And what are you willing to pay for that piece? And I think like it's really easy to say, hey, go out and acquire someone, and it's more difficult. And then you throw the cap into it as well, and in terms of what you're willing to absorb and everything else. It's not as easy as people make it out to seem at sometimes.
We need the Artemi Panarin deal where he says, I'm only some right shot all-star defenseman. I'm only going to Ottawa.
It's like Mackenzie Weegar. It's like, I'm only going to Ottawa.
That's it. And
here's your 10 cents on the dollar.
Here's your 3rd round pick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Someday.
But apparently he's trying. No,
I don't think he's not ever trying.
Yeah.
It's just hard of what do you want to give up? What are you going to move that is going to move the needle to acquire whatever piece it is you need? Yeah.
And again, I think they do need to swing big. The problem is, like you said, I just don't know if they have the pieces to do it or the willingness to give up those pieces to do it. And like, if it's a failed thing and you send a bunch of like 1st round picks out the door to get a guy and it falls short, then, well, if you don't have your 2026 pick, you're willing to move a 2027, 2028 pick. Now you're without a bunch of 1st round picks. Your system's going to be more depleted, and you might be in a worse spot 3 years from now. So, but at the same time, Wally, I think the other part of the conversation too is if Brady's on it, got 2 years left on his deal past this year. Drake Batherson's a free agent at the end of next season. Like you're starting to talk about windows opening, closing. What they can do, and I'm not trying to instill fear in the fan base thinking these guys are all heading at the door, but like that's the reality. It's either they're going to leave out the door or they're going to get significant jumps in their pay, which will make it harder to spend and insulate this core with guys around them. So
I completely agree with you. They need to be able to show the future is there and be able to produce on the ice. That's a tall task for any team.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's the hard part when you're like one of those teams that's towards like the middle of the pack, right? It's like, how do you separate yourself easily? And I think like you need to do a better job drafting outside the 1st round, which we talked about yesterday. You need to be shrewd with the player acquisitions. And like we've seen guys like Fabian Zetterlund, they invested, capital, like a 2nd round pick and a prospect for him. And it hasn't really worked out, right? Like they've made some calculated bets on guys and it hasn't necessarily worked out. They haven't moved the needle significantly. And when you don't hit on those kind of deals, it makes it harder to like gain traction and start climbing the standings. But we'll see what they do. It's like, I don't think Steve's ever satisfied, right? Like I feel like he's always looking to work the margins and find players who can help push this forward a little bit. But I don't know. It'll be interesting to see because he hasn't really cut bait with anyone yet who he's brought in, right?
No. He's Brad Pitt in Moneyball. That's who's going to play him in a movie. We're moving on. This show brought to you by Beyond the Pale. btpshop.ca. Proudly presented to you by Beyond the Pale Brewing Company. Great beer, great food, great spots to hang out. That's Beyond the Pale. Fresh seasonal craft beers always on tap, but they have a beer called Yummy. It's exactly what it is. Check out their menu, also their food menu. Look at City Center Brewery and Tap Room at 250 City Center. Plenty of parking there. And of course, their Byward Market in the historic 21 George Street. 2 awesome locations, 2 great vibes. Perfect for a night out or catching the next big Ottawa game. Visit them online at btpshop.ca. Oh, and of course, Bet365, our proud presenting sponsor. Whatever your bet is, it's never ordinary. Bet365, download the app, get on the game. Use code NATION, must be 19 or older, Ontario only. I needed Brady to score last night, so I missed my parlay. Are you going to lay... do you care about the Super Bowl?
Like, I'll watch it, obviously. Like, I'm a huge sports fan, so I'll definitely watch it. But I don't have a rooting vested interest in either of those teams. Like, I'm an Eagles guy, so I don't really care about either of those teams, to be honest with you. But give me an entertaining game, give me a little bit of drama, and then I'm happy.
It should be a good game. I'm excited to see what it comes down to. Although the Seahawks are heavily favored to win this one, so
2 good defenses, yeah.
I was hoping you were a football guy because I had a couple of parlays I was going to ask about. Not 100% sure, but I'll maybe ask later on in the chat. Just wanted to get one. Anyway. Finally, before we go, I forget what I'd written down somewhere.
I should say Wally, Money Puck at Ottawa's chance of reaching the postseason. It is up to 40.4%. It's not bad.
It's pretty good. They were 4 points until Boston won last night, right? Boston beat Nashville.
Had they beat Carolina, I think they would have been at 50%. I think that was the tweet from like Alex Adams. But so
you're saying
40% is not bad.
I know. I just need them to be like battling game in hand, like down the stretch, 2 points. Get me within 2-3 points.
Yeah. I guess it'd be tough too, because the concern is going into the trade deadline. Like there's 4 games left before the deadline. And it's like if you're in it, you have to afford them the opportunity, right? But then if you make a move, you have to acquire someone with term. Like you can't go out and get a rental. You can't waste assets on a season where there's no guarantee you're going to make the postseason.
See how hard this is?
Yeah, it's like, not easy. Or maybe they do. Maybe they do. Maybe if there's like a middling pick, they don't really care. They'll give them an opportunity. But I think they need a right shot guy. I think they need another goaltender. Like James Reimer, great performance last night, but I don't know if you can rely on him to like stop 90% of the pucks either.
Has he really cost you any games yet? In a small sample size.
Yeah, I didn't think he was very good against Carolina. I'd have to look at his past
Carolina.
Starts. I know.
They lead the league and that's a legit Stanley Cup contending team.
I don't know. I don't put them in the same, like they're very
really.
I don't put them in the same category as like a Colorado or a Dallas potentially. Like they're just not. I don't know. They don't scare me, I guess is the best way to put it. But so I'm just trying to pull up James Reimer's game logs here.
While you do that, I will tell you the fans that the Sens no Olympic break for Stephen Halliday is and Hunter Shepard have been sent back to Belleville.
Nashville, Reimer wasn't particularly strong in Nashville either, but he's also a guy who hasn't played all year and then just got thrown in the mix from the Spengler. So it's hard to.
But if you compare him to Levi Marilainen before he got sent down.
Oh, Levy was the worst goaltender in the league statistically at that point.
Do you not feel better having James Reimer there, though? I think he's been pretty good.
For sure. I also think just having his veteran presence in that room where it's like he's less flappable. I think like Levy's such a young and impressionable young goaltender where it's like he probably wears it a little harder than Reimer does at this stage of his career. And I think with Levy, it's a confidence thing. I think with Reimer, it's not a confidence thing. He's been a veteran. He's been around the league. He's had his ups and downs, and he knows what he has to do to get set for the next game.
And by all means, like this is a guy that wasn't playing in the National Hockey League for months and didn't have a job. So I don't think he's the greatest goaltender since Ken Dryden. My point is, I feel better seeing him. I just don't think he's been badly outplayed. Could he have a couple of goals back? 100%. But I have no issues with him being in goal at the moment.
So what do you want to see Steve do? He's got 4 games left. Ultimately, like, what's your Christmas list? What's your Christmas list? Like, what do you have to check off? Like, what would you like to see ideally?
In the next, by March 6th, so a month from today, I just want one thing done. Like, you get either a right shot D, backup goalie. I'll leave the top 6 forward out of this for now because I think they're fine up front. I just would like to see them a little tighter or a little bit better in those 2 areas.
Yeah. Makes sense. What would you do if Ottawa wins like the next 2 games? Like they play Toronto and Detroit coming out of the break. I think it's Detroit first and then Toronto. They win those 2 games. Does he take a swing? Does he take a bigger swing?
I don't think he goes outside of his plan to do it. Meaning he doesn't want to sacrifice whatever the future is for the last 21 games or 20 games. I don't think that's in Steve at the moment. Like,
I think it depends on. I think
Ottawa's not a legit Stanley Cup contender here at the moment.
Not at the moment, no. But I think with Ottawa though, it's like I think if they get in, nobody's going to want to play this team. Like nobody's going to want to play this team because this team is just a save away from being like very, very competent and good, right? And it's like I think with like Linus Ullmark, he has that in him to get hot. He has that ability to get hot. He's
going, man, I don't want to face the Sens.
100%. I don't think anybody wants to face the team. Oh, maybe, but I mean, they got injuries. They've got injuries right now. And if you're saying if you have the chance to play like the Columbus Blue Jackets or the Ottawa Senators, who have
Columbus
like the best,
is on a tear.
Yeah, but I know. I'm just for comparables. Like you're talking about one of the best defensive teams in hockey. Where it's like if they get in, nobody's going to want to play them. Nobody's going to want to face Brady Tkachuk 7 times in not a chance. And Timmy and Jake, like there's some dynamic players on this team, and they don't play an easy game. They make it hard on you. And I don't think teams are going to want to, in terms of matchups. Like you talk about like Detroit, like Yorkie talks about this all the time. Like Detroit, that's a relatively soft team. Like they play on the perimeter a lot. They've relied on their goaltender to make a bunch of saves this year, but like. Even Montreal in some respects, right? Like they don't play heavy. They play fast. They play decent structurally defensive hockey, but like they're not a heavy team. They just don't impose fear. As I say, Ottawa acquired like McDermott to deal with Jack Eye, but you know what I mean.
I get it. I do like Montreal I don't think their season's been a fluke whatsoever. They have some highly skilled, fun players to watch.
Some guys that can finish plays for sure.
But if I'm John Cooper, I'm not worried right now about Ottawa. Do I think that they're a solid defensive team? Yeah, but I just think that if you're Carolina or Tampa, you can exploit 100%. Like look at Carolina Ottawa probably played better in that game, and Carolina just took the game over.
Yeah. But like again, like breakdowns, like costly breakdowns, like and uncharacteristic mistakes. Like I think even Jarvis's second goal, I believe it was, where he like kind of danced around. Like Jake Sanderson kind of ignored him for a split second. Yeah, he was worried about the puck carrier coming down the middle, and then he gave the outside lane to Jarvis, and Jarvis beat him. Maybe like he disrespected Jarvis's skating ability slightly, thinking he could catch him if he afforded him that much space, but you just don't see like those kind of customary like decisions from guys like that. And I think like Ottawa played really well against Carolina and should have had those 2 points. It's just they pissed them away. But I don't like Carolina's not a team that scares me. Like they're just not. Really? They don't play heavy either. Yeah, they don't play heavy either. I think it's like one of those teams where it's like, like if you faced like the LA Kings or St. Louis from back in the day, or like Vegas, right? It's going to be a hard physical series and it takes a lot out of you. And I think like if you're going to go on an extended run in the postseason, you need to face one of those lighter teams. And if you get through that series, you're like, okay, you're better for it,
All right. So as of today, which team is coming out of the East to be your Stanley Cup finalist?
Finalist? Oh, now you're putting me on the spot.
Yeah.
Like I think if Tampa's healthy, they're a slog, and their defense has been way better than I could have imagined. Like
and they just got
that was the one. Yeah, that was one position on them that I disrespected at the beginning of the season. I didn't think their D was that strong, but yeah, Tampa's probably the only team. Like the Pittsburgh Penguins don't scare me. The Islanders don't really scare me. Montreal, Detroit, no. Buffalo's handled Ottawa really well, and they're kind of one of those teams that's just they skate well. They're getting some stops.
They're a little big.
A little bit.
Anyway, so is it Tampa?
I think it's got to be Tampa based off the teams remaining. But I mean, like Ottawa, I'd take Ottawa in a series. Like I think Ottawa could give Tampa a good run for their money. And I like Montreal, Detroit, Carolina. I think Ottawa could. It'd be a long, tough series. It'd be like reminiscent of last year against Toronto, right? Like the Toronto series last year wasn't going to be easy, but like I didn't mind Ottawa's chances against them.
Yeah, I thought Ottawa was very good in that series. 100%. And there's a bounce here or there, and we're talking a different series, maybe. 100%. Yep. And if they weren't cheating on faceoffs.
Yeah.
Whatever it was they were doing.
Freaking Max Pacioretty scores late. Unbelievable.
Patches. All right. We'll be back Monday. It's shaping up to be tough guy week on the show. We'll see if we can continue that, but we're trying to line up a few people for next week. Anyway, we're back with all regular shows. Don't worry. Just because the NHL is on a Milan games break, we will stay with you. So enjoy your weekend, Graham. Talk to you Monday.
Yeah, see you, everybody. Have a great weekend.
See you, everybody.
Thanks for tuning in to Coming In Hot. If you enjoyed the show, hit that like button and be sure to subscribe to never miss an episode.